Hey everyone, in today's video I want to give you a tip on getting perfect exposure in your shots every time. Now, the first thing that should be noted is there's no such thing as a universal correct exposure. If you're shooting a black cat on a black rug at nighttime, it should be a much darker shot than, a polar bear in the snow. That should be a much brighter shot. So there's no exact one size fits all kind of exposure. And the second thing is, like anything, it takes a bit of experimentation and practice to get the shots you want. But one thing I want to emphasize is, whilst a lot of people pay attention to the highlights and getting the bright parts right, it's often the shadows and the dark areas of your shot that really add mystery and depth to your shots. And if you're not familiar with your histogram, check out the link in the caption below. I've done a great video on that. You want to get to terms with your histogram and learn how to read that. But another thing to really help you see tonal variation and your shadows in the shot, I want you to start shooting in black and white. Now, I know a lot of people don't want their final images in black and white, but if you're shooting in RAW, it doesn't matter. All you're doing is telling your camera to display black and white. The final image will still be saved as a color image. The full raw detail is still there. Now, on Nikon, you go to your shooting menu and then it's set picture control. You can scroll down, it'll be set to standard or auto, and go to monochrome. You can either hit OK, or if you press to the right, it'll take you in and you can make adjustments. I like to bump mine up 1 point in contrast, and then I really can see clearly what are the darks, what are the highlights, and how are my shadows looking. Now in Canon, it's just as easy. You go in under the little camera icon series of menus and then go to picture style and you can choose it there for you. Now a couple of little things to keep in mind. Basically you're telling it what JPEG settings you would want, but if you're not saving in JPEG, it just displays that to you. But if you are shooting RAW and JPEG, the RAW will be fine and intact with full color information, but your JPEG will be locked to black and white. You won't be able to get color back on that, so keep that in mind. And likewise, if you switch over to video mode, at least on the Nikons, it retains that and you'll be shooting black and white video if you don't pay attention to it. Let me just show you a couple of different sample images on the back of the screen and in color and in black and white so you can see what I mean.
So taking a look, here it is in black and white. This is how I would normally do it. Check my histogram quickly. I can easily see my highlights and the tonality through the rocks. Here it is as a color, processed as a JPEG. And for me anyway, it's much harder to see that detail. Likewise, these shots in the bar, shot in color, you can see what's going on there, but as soon as you go to black and white, it really becomes apparent the shadows over his eyes from his brow and under his lip from his lower lip, again in color and black and white. And then two more examples. This one, the black and white really shows you, once you abstract the pink of the skin, that the left eye is in shadow. And then this one, you can see the little highlights where light is hitting on the different eyes because of the black and white.
For me at least, the color can be a distraction. You don't see the tonal variation quite as clearly as you do when you're showing black and white. So try it out. You may find it's not for you, but you may find it absolutely does work for you. I often suggest this to students in my workshops that they try it out, and it can be really handy to see the highlights and the dark areas without that color information clouding your vision. Leave me any questions or comments. I'll see you soon.